I saw F1, and then I watched. What else did I see? Yesterday I watched Darjeeling Limited. Have you ever seen that?
Oh.
Wes Anderson movie.
Oh, okay. I know that he's got a new movie coming out, right?
Yeah, I think it's out already, called The Phoenician Scheme.
Yeah. I'll probably see it. It looks interesting. I haven't seen the first thing you mentioned though. Also, hey, welcome to the Retro Boost podcast. Kind of, we're doing like a we're just gonna get here. We're just gonna talk about stuff. Maybe we'll talk about F1. Maybe we'll talk about the Phoenician Scheme. Maybe we'll talk about. Maybe we'll talk about some other things. Some of this may be emotionally driven. Like maybe we'll read something in the morning before doing this and go, "Oh my god, we're gonna do a podcast today, son of a bitch." So maybe that'll be. Actually, with that said, Transformers, Michael Bay is coming back apparently.
I'm not. I don't know. I wish Michael Bay still made movies like pretty much everything up to what, Armageddon, or yeah, maybe Bad Boys 2. That was pretty fun. But after that, I don't know. The first Transformers movie, I guess, was kind of like reined in by Spielberg a little bit. But most of his Transformers movies are just, you don't even, like, it doesn't even make any sense. Like, which movie is it? There's one where they're fighting in like a warehouse and it's like daytime or nighttime when they first go into the warehouse, and then they like get in a fight or whatever and go out the other side, and then it's daytime. Like, what the, like, it's like the editing's bad and
they
can't see anything that's going on, like when they transform. It's just like a mess.
I know that in the first one, which a very funny little micro story regarding the first one, Tori and I were playing stuff for Retro Boost Arcade, and we were the conversation went to movies we'd seen recently, and I brought up how I saw Transformers 1. That's the name of the movie. And then Tori and I go on to have like a whole conversation about Transformers and this movie. And then I realized that he has misunderstood what I said, and he keeps talking about, in his mind, the Shia LaBeouf first one from 2007. And I was like, no, Transformers 1 is the name of the movie, not Transformers.
Well, that's what they get for naming it Transformers 1.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really funny because, like, the conversation was impressively generalized for so long because that part of it was lost between us. Where it was like, yeah, I thought it was really good and I enjoyed it a lot and blah, blah, blah. This was cool and that was cool. And he was like, yeah, I thought that was a good movie too. And he's going down, it's not even the same movie we're talking about. It's really funny.
Transformers 1 was really good, actually.
So Transformers 1 is in the movie that came out last year, or Transformers 1 is in the one that came out in 2007?
Not the one that came out in 2007. that movie was kind of fun at the time, you know. It was like the first live action Transformers movie, so it was cool to see some of those characters. But it's like, as soon as Optimus Prime comes rolling out with like flames on the side of his truck, then you're just kind of like, oh, this is an interesting interpretation.
So,
and then like Bumblebee pees on that guy.
Yeah, Bumblebee, stop lubricating the man. I know all the lines. It's a disease.
Well, at least they got Peter Cullen or whatever to voice him.
True, and he also had really funny things to say about that because he didn't like that they kept having him say like "I'll kill you" and variations of that across all the movies.
Well, the other thing is like the audio mixing on those movies is weird. Like they'll be like throwing out little one-liners and quips and stuff when they're fighting, but you can't really hear them because like the voices are mixed low, and it's like, I don't know, they're just so messy. It's like it's like if the South Park version of Michael Bay made a movie.
Oh yeah, when they're like taking suggestions on how to deal with Imagination Land, and he like pitches a bunch of shit. Yeah.
It's like beyond it's like beyond parody especially when it gets into the later ones, like
Oh yeah.
the one where they go back in time with like King Arthur or whatever.
That might be the worst one. It's the most forgettable one. That's for damn sure.
The thing that's crazy is they did shit like that, like in the original cartoon, also, like in the old school, like 80s cartoon. They would time travel and stuff like that. They went back to like when the dinosaurs were still alive at one point. That's where the Dinobots came from, because they like scanned them.
Oh, they put the Dinobots were in the Michael Bay ones too. Everyone's favorites.
Sort of, though.
They should.
That's the thing, though.
Sort of.
They don't really like. There's no until like I would say the last couple movies that weren't made by Michael Bay. You know, like those are a little more faithful to the characters. But like in his movies, other than maybe Optimus Prime or somebody like that, like all of the characters are just thrown in there because they probably thought the design was cool or something, and it's just like in name only. Like none of them have any kind of like real personality or anything like that. What?
Oh yeah, they totally did that. They were only ever interested in like the names of these characters. They, with the exception of because that started happening a lot. Like in the one with the knights in it, the one with the King Arthur crap. It's like they put Hot Rod in that one, and it's just like it's not even Hot Rod at all from the show.
Yeah. Or the one with Devastator. It's not Devastator at all. It's like a monster-looking thing.
It's the idea of Devastator. It's like a thing that assembles into a bigger thing, but
just do it like. I mean, it doesn't have to be like exactly like the original cartoon or something, but like just at least make it like somewhat recognizable.
No,
it's just not even the same character.
No,
like what's the point?
No, that's what he said.
That's why I like the newer ones, like Bumblebee. I think is pretty good actually, and that one, I think that one's more core. Like if you watch like the original Transformers, like like the old school like original mini series, like the first 3 episodes or whatever, where it makes like a little mini movie, like it's kind of true to that. I feel like Bumblebee, like in spirit, like it has like that kind of like feel to it, where he's like helping out this human or whatever, and all that. So I think that movie's pretty good as far as Transformers goes, anyway.
Yeah, Bumblebee I thought was really good. I did think of a continuity thing though, going back. The 2007 first one did have a moment where the light changed pretty drastically in one scene where they're on the highway, and it's the part where what was his name? Bone Crusher, the mine-sweeping one with the big claw. When that thing, like, when they're on the highway and they're being chased and they're going to the city, there's shots where it's like clearly like kind of midday, like 1 p.m. energy, and then there's a couple shots where it's like now it's like 8:30 p.m. summer evening kind of vibe. Like the sun is clearly like setting and it's like super dark, and then it goes back to daytime again when Bone Crusher smashes through the bus. And I've always, that moment, even when I was a kid, I was like, that's really weird. But to go back to Bumblebee, yeah, I thought Bumblebee was a very good change in direction, and I was kind of bummed that the Rise of the Beasts like is and also was not a sequel to that, and like started to kind of get away from some of the better things that Bumblebee was doing with the designs and how they interact with people and so on.
I still thought that movie was entertaining, though. I don't really remember it that much, though. It wasn't as like didn't really stick in my brain as much, but I remember kind of liking it while I was watching it. I mean, it's way better than any of the Michael Bay movies, at least.
Oh yeah, I saw it in theaters and I thought it was fine. Any excuse to have what's his name, Unicron, is always a cool thing visually, so I was kind of excited for that, even though I knew he wasn't gonna be the hugest part of that movie. But I mean, with all that said, the future of this franchise is really weird right now because I don't know that they're doing a sequel to Rise of the Beasts at all, and they're not doing a sequel to Transformers 1. So it's like, what are you people doing right now? And as much as I should say loved, I thought the Transformers 1 was really damn good. But I also found it confusing because here comes like a reboot thing on its own, whilst Rise of the Beast is like relatively fresh and it's clearly not part of any of that. And I was like, what are you guys doing right now? Like, you're really dirtying the brand.
The franchise has always been like that, though. Again, to like even going back to the original cartoon, like season one has like this kind of overarching story with like it's like coherent. You know, you can tell they actually tried to write some kind of like cool sci-fi story or whatever, and you know, with like standalone episodes here and there, but like it's got an overall like plot. And then when you get to season two, it's when like the toy sales and stuff like really kicked in, and they had to like sell new toys. So like characters would just it would be like you've never seen this character ever, and then there he is just as a main character, like in an episode, like interacting with all the other main characters, and it's kind of like he's always been there or whatever. And so it's like there's always been like weird stuff like that because it's a franchise that was just made to sell toys, and that was its entire purpose. So, but I think the writers of whoever like did this first season like kind of actually seemed to care about writing some kind of cool story, which is kind of where that, and I think the original comic book is where everything kind of like stuck. But it's just been like, other than maybe like Beast Wars or whatever, it's just been kind of like regurgitating the same stuff over and over again for like 40 years.
Yeah, it definitely has that feeling to it where you get a lot of the same stuff repeated across adaptations.
I think that was what was cool about Transformers 1, because even though I was kind of skeptical about it, because I'm like, I don't really need this stupid origin story where like Optimus Prime and Megatron were friends and then blah 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 happened, you know. But it was like done really well, and it was kind of like a interesting twist on that versus like any other Transformers medium.
Yeah, I'm normally the same way about prequels and stuff, and I just like had no interest in seeing something that I knew the outcome of, but then it was like YouTube algorithm like threw a clip of that movie at me, and like I watched it and I was kind of like, this actually looks a little interesting. And I remember I watched the whole thing and I was very impressed by it because I felt like it handled the deterioration of their friendship and like what's going on and whatnot very well. At the same time, like the fact that it was as surprisingly violent as it was too, kind of like lent to making it feel more serious and like more dramatic. It's quite good. That and the fact that it's a reminder that like celebrity voice acting every now and then can produce a pretty surprisingly well done performance that's pretty unique, because a lot of the times these animated movies will, you know, pay X million dollars to get this guy's voice in here, but you know, it's just that voice. Whereas people in that movie, for the most part, I mean, not all of them, some of them were, I think, were definitely that thing, but like a couple of them were doing like a damn good job making those characters their own.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out
and
to
the
Chris
animation was
Hemsworth
cool.
and
Like it looked cool.
what's his face?
I'm glad that we're finally in this era, because for the longest time, CG movies all looked like Toy Story, where they had that like plastic kind of look to them or whatever, and like or Pixar movies in general, you know.
Brian Henry. Shout out to Brian Henry.
And like, I'm glad that, I mean, I guess it was kind of kicked off with like Spider-Verse, but I'm glad that they finally started doing like more artistically driven things with visuals instead of just making the same old like CGI looking crap.
Yeah, that was the weird long-term effect of Pixar and Disney merging, is that there's like no distinction between Pixar and Disney anymore for like what they make, sort of. Pixar started to kind of pioneer their own style, but it's still very Disney-like, because that movie was it Turning Red, and then Luca, and their current thing that just bombed catastrophically at the box office, ELO. I think it's called ELO. Those all have the same kind of design to them, but it's still very similar to Disney's overall vibe.
Yeah, just looking at pictures of it right now, it looks looks like Pixar.
You can't, like, out of context, a person that didn't know any better would have a lot of trouble telling you if that was Disney versus Pixar.
Yeah.
It's weird. But yeah, Transformers 1, I think, did a great job with its like textures and its like the way everything kind of had like the metallic qualities of everything. I thought was like really cool, and I liked moments where these robots would fight physically, and like the sound design was pretty impressive in the movie too. Like when they're kind of like beating on each other and the metal scraping and the sparks were flying off. That was really cool too.
Yeah.
That movie is
Yeah.
just really good. If you haven't seen it, see it. It's worth seeing. It's a shame that it didn't do well, and it didn't do well because the advertising was horrendous. The earliest trailers for it
I
looked like
wouldn't
it was
have seen
freaking
it,
Power
honestly.
Rangers.
Like, if you hadn't praised it so much, I probably wouldn't have even watched it because it didn't look very good. From
You
the
have to
trailer.
like people that like it have to like lobby for it to get other people to see it. I thought what was just really impressive with it is that it's not about a guy like gradually descending into villainy. It's about D16 kind of immediately becoming Megatron at the first sign of things going wrong, and it's more about like how far will he go as he becomes evil. And that was like itself kind of a good twist because he's not grappling with like, oh, should I be evil? No, like he literally says, I'm gonna rip this dude's freaking head off the first chance I get and parade his corpse through the streets. I was like, damn. And this is like the halfway part of the movie. Like, he is evil, like out of there. It's just a matter of like seeing where it goes from there and like how it happens. It's a little, it avoids some kind of cliches in that sense because there isn't like what the movie doesn't have that it probably did have at some point, or a suit suggests that it should have, is some part where like him and Optimus get in an argument and then they do like the friends break up thing that so many movies do, and they're like separated for like a chunk of it, and then they come back together and they're like, oh, my best friend, and then something else happens like, oh, not my friend anymore. They don't do that. Like, it's really well done how the whole thing like falls apart.
Yeah, it was like very maturely made. I was surprised, but like something that's always bugged me about Transformers ever since I was a kid, and watching Transformers the movie, where like the planet at the very beginning when Unicron just murders that entire planet.
That shopping mall planet, yeah.
Yeah, and there's like a bunch of kid Transformers running around, and I'm like, how does this work? How do they grow up? Like, does their metal expand as they grow up? Like,
I think,
how does it like?
I'm not like the expert on the Transformers lore, but I think what that is, they're not kids. They're like, there are big ones and there are small ones. I think that's what that is.
They're running around like kids and giggling and stuff. Just watch that scene. They're definitely kids. They're like kids at the mall.
I'll have to watch it.
And even in Transformers 1, like, they're kind of like teenagers, they're not like their full grown versions.
Oh yeah, I think them, that seemed like a mental maturity thing. Like they all kind of seemed like they're adults, quote unquote, but it's like everyone has their own intellect. But again, there were small ones and there were big ones though, because Bumblebee was small.
Well, yeah, I get that. I get what you're saying there. I don't know. I guess that's what happens when you just take a whole bunch of Japanese toys and try to make a like some sort of logical story out of it.
Transformers 1, or Transformers the movie, looks pretty great on 4K. I have that one on 4K Blu-ray.
Yeah, I have it too. It's actually, I think that movie holds up pretty well in general.
Didn't I find out? I think I looked this up when I was talking to you once. Didn't you got the touch was like composed for that movie?
Yeah, it was. It's part of the soundtrack. It was made for it.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
What a weird stain on history.
I mean, so how old was I when that movie came out in like 1986? I think I was like 6 or 7 years old when that movie came out. So like, if you're a 7-year-old watching that and you got the touch comes on, like, that's the coolest shit in the world, dude.
For a 7-year-old, that movie is dark as hell, by the way.
Well, that was the 80s for you.
There's just bloodshed everywhere in that movie.
We all grew up watching. I mean, they made a cartoon out of RoboCop.
That's true.
And Rambo.
That's also true. That one's actually worse, in my opinion, because at least RoboCop is a cop, and you could sanitize that for kids pretty easily. But Rambo is pretty straightforwardly like basically.
Yeah, he just went on adventures, and it's like maybe used non-lethal arrows and stuff. I don't know. I mean, but like even with
non-lethal arrows.
Rambo, I mean, G.I. Joe, like that was a pretty. I mean, no one ever got killed, I guess, and they used laser guns instead of like rifles, but still, like, it was just about people shooting each other. For the most
I got an idea for a show. It's about people that try to shoot each other. I saw a trailer for that exact thing. It was by the Russo brothers, I think, and the whole trailer is nothing but these two spy-looking people just pointing their guns at other people. It's the whole trailer. It's just like 20 different scenes of. It's that for like 2.5 minutes straight, and I was like, these people love guns, man. It's like their whole thing.
Yep.
You said something earlier. Laser rifles. I have a question. So you saw Dune 2?
Yes.
They just have guns in that movie, and they didn't have those in the first one. So I'm like, what's going on here?
I don't know. I didn't really. Dune 2 was like, I just wasn't into it at all. Like, I was trying to get through it, and I don't even know. I was probably looking at my phone for half the movie, so I don't even remember.
Me too.
That.
I'm not gonna lie. I was the same way. I was struggling the whole time.
I don't care about any of the. I don't know why. Like, I found the first movie more engaging. I don't know anything about Dune. I've never read the books. I don't really care. And it's like, but I like sci-fi stuff, so it's like, oh, cool sci-fi movie. And Denis Villeneuve was a great director, and Dune 1, I thought it was like really interesting setup and everything, and it flowed pretty well. But like I don't know, the second one, I'm just like, I don't really give a shit about any of this.
I found it like really.
Oh, she's like,
boring.
His mom's like a witch or whatever. Yeah. Like, I don't care.
His mom's like a witch or whatever. You're like looking up from your phone, and you're like,
well, the part where like he takes over and gives this big speech to all these people, and I'm like, there's zero chance any of those people would like buy that. Like, he just doesn't have the. I like Timothy Chalamet, but he doesn't have like the gravitas to do a scene like that. He's just sort of like, like, who would follow this guy? I don't know. And then let's see, Christopher Walken. Even though I love Christopher Walken, like, he's just so out of place.
That was
like,
out of place. That was bad.
Like, I'm just kind of like, I don't get it. Like, he can't act. Well, I don't know if you've ever seen Severance, the TV show.
Act.
He actually. I didn't mean that. Like, I just didn't finish my thought.
Slandering the man while you're at it.
Christopher Walken sucks. No, I'm just kidding. I love that dude. But he normally is kind of like a parody of himself. The only thing I've seen him in recently where he's not is his character in Severance. He's actually kind of like different than he normally acts. But anyway, side note. The movie just didn't work for me. Like, riding sandworms seems stupid. Like, I'm just like, the scene's like well done, and I'm kind of like, that's pretty cool, like how they do it. But I'm like, it just looks goofy as hell with like this giant worm coming across with this little speck on top of it, like holding on for dear life, like just to steer it left or right. Like, I
definitely thought that was funny in the context of them like migrating in mass. Because at one point there's like 1 million people in the back of one of them, and all these tents and little vehicles and stuff.
Yeah,
I was like, man, you're putting a lot of faith into this worm steering the right
if you look
course.
at all the effort Paul went through just to get that one worm, like, now I guess maybe once you capture him, you just like whistle for him and they come pulling up, and you just load all your crap on them, and then they go off.
No,
they're
not
they have
tame.
to go through that whole thing so I'm just like picturing like that whole group of people you were just talking about, like all standing on one of those sand dunes, like waiting for the worm to come through so they can jump on and hopefully not fall off.
Yeah, because like what they do is they put a thumper which attracts it, and then you have to hook it, and then you use the hooks to pull its like skin plating up, because that exposes the softer flesh, which the sand irritates. Then it stays surfaced. But like, one person can do that fine. We see Paul do it, right? But I'm like, how did the other 80 people get on this thing with like tents and vehicles and stuff? On
that dune together, they have to climb up on the dune, and then like that comes through, and then they all jump on and like do all that
with their tents, like
somehow. Yeah, they somehow
stuff.
catch their tents and stuff. It's like one dude like throws the tent, and then like the other dude that's already down there like grabs it and like attaches it while he's like, dude, I don't know, it just doesn't.
The part that I mean that in itself is like a funny little like weird thing to me. But yeah. I just couldn't get past the guns, because like they didn't have any guns in the first movie. It was like a world with swords and shields and little
Oh yeah, that's a good
buzzbee
point.
drones, and then all of a sudden in the opening of this movie they have like these crazy high power penetration laser rifles that like just blast through anything with no contest. And I'm just like, they have guns? I'm like, you guys didn't use this during your big invasion scene? Like, it's just weird. I was just like so perplexed how they just have guns. Guns, it changes everything. Because it was a whole, everyone's like chivalry and sword fighting and honor and sword fighting. They just have guns. Like there's that all goes out the window if they have guns.
I don't know. That's why I wish Chris was here for this part of the conversation, because he knows like the book, I guess. But,
oh, he does. We have an expert that we can reference.
I'm not gonna say expert. I don't want to like put words in Chris's mouth or anything, but like
You're saying that
I
he knows
remember
all the
having a
books front to back, and
conversation
that you're putting words as your words in his mouth. Yeah, all right.
but I don't know if it's like that in the books or what. I mean, the director seemed like he's a big fan of the book, so like there's probably reference to that in there somewhere. I don't know. But
I had a coworker. So when the first Dune movie came out, not the first as in like the 80s one, but like the 2021 one, the first of these two, my coworker that I did the install work on was like a gigantic Dune fan. He knew all the books, and I remember he explained a lot of this stuff to me, and it's all kind of left me now because it's been years. But I remember it was something, the same reason that they didn't have guns was for the same reason that they need spice for space travel, because they're just like not very computer dependent. I forget, I don't even want to guess, but it was something like that. But it was just really strange to me that out of nowhere they have guns that are not just like effective for just shooting people with, but like there's like scenes in that movie where like they're planting them down and they're like firing shots and annihilating the harvesting machinery like it's nothing. And I was like, what? They just work on vehicles too? Like, it's just like you can't stop someone with these things. Like, why even bother with the final action scene? You just plant one gun out and just, and it goes through all the walls through the Emperor's brain. Like, I don't see the effort needed.
why wouldn't the Emperor guy just stay in space? Like, why did he even come down and land on the planet?
Because the movie had to happen.
And then like you have this big action scene at the end where they all ride the sandworms. And like, oh, this is gonna be cool. And then they just sort of like cruise up to the building on their sandworms and get off and then go inside. And I'm just like, okay. And then he just walks in and kills that guy. I'm like, what the
yeah, that
I might be misremembering it. I've only seen it once.
No, that's what happens. They raid the compound or whatever, and Paul walks in, he saunters on in, and
everyone's just looking at him, and then he just walks over and kills that guy.
Yeah, they're all just like, all right.
Yeah, I just thought that was weird. I don't know. I felt like I was missing something. Like maybe there was some line of dialogue that I missed or something. I didn't really understand why they would just not even say anything. Even like the big bad guy, bald dude or whatever that they make is going to be like, you know, Paul's like arch nemesis or whatever his name is.
Yeah, he's the nephew of the Baron's nephew.
But he sucked though. He didn't even do anything like, in the whole movie. I'm like, okay, I'm waiting on him to do something. And then they have like that one fight at the end, I guess, but that's about it.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe the character's supposed to be full of crap, you know, like because they did kind of help him cheat to win, I guess, in the arena.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. I can't tell if I'm just making stuff up about this movie.
No, that happened. He used a shield, and they drugged all the guys up, except for that one dude that wasn't as drugged or whatever happened. So yeah, you're not wrong. Weird movie. I don't know. The last act entertained me a lot more than the first two acts did, but I was like you. I was kind of like half paying attention most of the time.
I don't really know that I haven't even bought it. I have the first Steelbook, and I'm like, I should get the second one to like complete the set. But I'm like, I don't really watch that movie. So, like,
it will remain incomplete.
Maybe one day I'll be in the right mood and I'll just watch it again and like it, and it'll click with me. I'm not sure, but
yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Not today though.
You gotta be on Spice.
I don't know how much that would help. That'd be too boring.
It makes it even more boring. You gain
Yeah.
fourth dimensional boring. With that said, speaking of guns, so you mentioned this right before we started recording. We were talking about Captain America, the fourth Captain America, and so I have seen the entirety of the Red Hulk fight scene in that, and I had two observations, one of which really bugs me. The other one's not so much bugged me, but it's definitely funny. I haven't seen the movie. You've seen the movie. But I am endlessly perplexed why, at this point, 6 years after Tony Stark was using nanotechnology, Secret Service as just an example of this greater issue, everyone still just has like contemporary technology. Like Red Hulk transforms and Secret Service is just like, quick everyone, pull out your totally normal Glock 9mm, that'll stop him.
Yeah, that is weird. Like in that world with that kind of technology, especially after those, like, what was it, the Wakanda was revealed,
Yeah.
after just sitting idly by for who knows how long and letting everyone die. Then eventually they showed themselves and have all this crazy technology, and no one uses it.
Yeah, that was the whole plot point in the Black Panther movie, was about him like opening up Wakanda to reach out and help the world. But
well, I mean, you're right though. Like, especially like the government military, 100% would have like crazy weapons. They would take that kind of technology and create some crazy stuff. Yeah, that's a good point. They should have it. Maybe they don't want to like go too sci-fi with the world in general. Like maybe they're trying to keep it kind of like where it feels like it could take place in our world. But if they go super sci-fi where everybody's got crazy weapons and stuff, then it almost kind of like takes you out of it a little bit. I mean, in terms of, I think it would be cool. I'm just saying, like,
I don't need them to all have
average person.
Like what I mean by this, like I don't need them to all have like, oh man, all of us deploy our Ant-Man suits, like they don't need to have that. But I'm just saying, like there has to be something. Like it's just weird to me how all the superheroes walking around have their quantum hologram 3D watches, and everyone else is still using like Samsung Galaxy S22s. It's just like, what's going on?
Especially when they could have more superheroes, because like most of those superheroes, like Iron Man, the only reason he's a superhero is because he has a suit. So it's like he doesn't even have any powers or anything, and the only reason that he's Iron Man is because he was the only person like rich enough to make the thing. But now they could kind of just, that technology would trickle down and just average people. I guess that's what that Ironheart or whatever might be about, kind of like a normal person.
I know that some of that's in there. I haven't seen that show. I probably never will watch it. I've never had an interest in the Marvel shows of any of them. It's not just a dig on that show in particular. But like,
think of any. But Daredevil's pretty good. I mean, even though it started as not really continuity, but like that show's, well, season 2 kind of sucks, but the rest of that show is pretty good.
I know that like Ironheart, like she was kind of like homebrewing her own Iron Man suit kind of thing, and I know that continues in the Ironheart show because her character showed up in the second Black Panther movie.
I haven't seen that one.
It's very forgettable, but I remember that she's in it, and she has her own suit that she'd already been tinkering with. And I think they help her finish it with Wakanda stuff. But now she's like making her own again in this show, I think. But that's also where it's kind of weird to me that like it's cool that you want to have these characters who are, smart and intelligent enough to utilize these things and make them on their own. But it's also just strange to me how it's like no one, like, it's just weird that it's like we're still doing that thing where it's like only, this main character can do it, but like no one else is doing it. Like I don't know, it's just weird to me.
I agree with you. It's
Iron Man
just be a
2,
creative decision to, like,
Iron Man 2 in the year 2010 was all about how they're fearing other countries and people are replicating the Iron Man suit specifically, and that was forever ago.
What happened?
I don't know, you cut out. Iron Man 2 was all about like this thing, and they just never really went back to that territory again. People can just either do it or they can't. It's just weird to me. It's just weird. But the other funny thing that in that scene though, in Captain America 4, there's a part right after that where they transition to the rooftop of the White House, and Red Hulk grabs like the flagpole and like he swings it, and Captain America, Sam Wilson, like grabs it and stops it from being thrown. And I'm like, he doesn't have super strength.
Yeah.
How's that happening?
There's a bunch of try to do this thing, and am I dropping out again?
Yeah, hold on, give it a second.
I had to turn my Wi-Fi off. Oh, I can finally get Google Fiber at my house, so I'm dropping Comporium ASAP.
Oh, hell yeah. It's better now.
All right, how's that?
Yeah, you're good.
What was I saying?
I was saying he doesn't have super strength, and then go.
They did try to, like, in the movie, there's a scene where he takes his buddy, that's the new Falcon or whatever, his sidekick, to the... Did you see the TV show?
Nope.
For Captain America? Okay. Well, he's got, like, this guy that was, like, I can't remember the character's name. He was, like, the original... What is going on? He was, like, the original Captain America, like, from back in the day. That's one of the subplots for the show and stuff that's actually pretty decent. It's like this guy, he was, like, the first African-American Captain America before Steve Rogers. And then he got kind of, like, I can't remember the whole story. He kind of got, like, they screwed him over, basically. Anyway, he's, like, Sam's, like, mentor or whatever, and helped train him. So he takes Falcon, the new Falcon, to that guy to, like, train him in the gym. And there's a scene where he, like, because that guy does have super strength because he had the super serum stuff, like, that Captain America has. So they fight each other like, spar each other, and he's doing all the, like, Sam's doing all these crazy moves to get around him and, like, flip over him and all this kind of stuff so he's not getting hit. So, like, they try to imply that he just has been training with this guy that does have superpowers to, like, be able to fight people with superpowers even though he doesn't have any. But it doesn't quite work with stuff like you're talking about, because he would still need super strength to, like, you know, they should just build in, I don't know, maybe they have something like this and I've missed it, but, like, they should just build some kind of nano crap into his suit that gives him super strength, like an exoskeleton or something.
That'd be fine. Because, like, the other problem I have with it is there's a part right before that where he gets, like, thrown through the building. Like, he gets, like, thrown through the White House and, like, ends up on the roof, I think, from being thrown through all these brick walls and stuff. And I'm like, he'd be dead because he lacks the, like, reinforced structure that, like, a stronger superhero character would have to be able to take that kind of punishment, even wearing a suit. Like, his insides would be jelly. And I'm not trying to nitpick it because it's a superhero movie. Obviously, it's stupid and you should just be able to turn your brain off. But it's like, it's hard to ignore that stuff in a franchise where these things have been shown and talked about and whatever. Just give the man the super serum. Like, come on, man. Like, let him let him have it.
Well, that's part of the plot too. I think he doesn't want it or something.
That's not good for the
job.
Yeah,
because the guy, because his mentor guy is like, you should have taken the super serum, or somebody says that. I can't remember. You can tell how much I paid attention. Something happened and I don't remember.
It's just like, it's not good for it should be like a job requirement. Like, if you're gonna be new Captain America, you have to be able to, like, do those things.
Dude, he's Captain America because of his personality and his heart. You know, he's not, you know, Captain America because he has super strength like that Steve Rogers guy or the other guy.
Yeah, but Steve Rogers wouldn't have done any of the stuff he could have done without that, though. That's the other half of that coin. Like, yeah. It's weird. He's gonna get, like, well, I don't know. He's not going to, though, because the plot will prevent it. But I
like how Steve Rogers just, like, effed off at the end, and, like, he didn't even. I mean, he did his mission, I guess, but, like, at the end of Endgame, and he's just like, you know what? Screw all this crap. I'm gonna live my life all over again and get what I didn't have. Screw what everybody else didn't have.
That had to be weird for him, like, standing by and watching famous disasters transpire that he could stop.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder, they should explore that, because, like, did he just like, oh yeah, another me just frozen in the ice. I can't do anything about it right now. Things have to play out the way they're supposed to, you know? Like, it's just weird to think of that character that's like so honorable and like cares about people, that would have the opportunity to stop things like that and just would like sit by and watch, knowing that like it has to play out a certain way. But like, it's not like they don't meddle with stuff anyway, you know? I don't know, it's weird. It's just when you start getting into time travel stuff, it's like, it's messy.
For sure. Gosh. I think those are my two. Transformers and the Secret Service guns were like my two things where I was like, I gotta rant about this for a minute. So, I think I got all my demons worked out. I just thought that was really stupid. Give them laser guns.
Stupid. You're right though. You can't like think about it too much because they're just dumb movies. But
yeah, they're not.
Like,
it's not fair.
I
would never like judge the movie, like give it a lower score because I think it's not, like, nah. They're supposed to just be entertaining. It just is kind of fun to talk about though.
It's just like some are done better than others in terms of like that sort of thing. You know, you can have like my favorite Marvel movie is probably Winter Soldier. You know, like, and that movie even has like isn't that the one where the dude like transferred his brain into a robot thing, like the scientist guy?
Yeah, Zola.
Isn't that in that movie? Because like Captain America and Black Widow go to that compound. He's in it. So even like that movie has some, you know, very comic booky stuff in it. But like,
he's like, why you are here? I need the new RAM. I haven't had enough cred. I'm at my capacity.
Yeah. Right, but it works in that movie though. You know.
Yeah, true.
It's like I don't know. Anyway,
actually, with that said, funny observation from that movie. So they make him like a senator or something in the Thunderbolts, the Winter Soldier guy. He's like he's like in politics, and it's like, dude, you think that like these celebrities get canceled over like dumb tweets from 10 years ago? What's gonna happen when they find out that Congressman Bucky Barnes is like this mass murderer who traveled the world, killed tens of thousands of people?
No, but he was brainwashed. So
they have someone's gonna be like,
a lame arc for that character though. Like he's such a cool character and had so much potential, and they've just not. Like, they turned him good, and then they just haven't done jack with him since then. Like, he's like a complete waste of a character. And he could be so cool, you know? Like, and I know Sam was Captain America in the comics at one point, but, like, so was Bucky. Like, Bucky would have been a cool Captain America. Like, and that would have been an interesting story to tell, because he has this conflict of being an ex-mass murderer. So it's like, and he actually has super strength, and he has a cool robot arm that they haven't done crap with ever since that one movie where he got the new one from Wakanda. I mean, it's just a wasted character. It's just like a bummer.
I think he has stuff to do in that Thunderbolts movie. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's fair. I haven't seen that one yet either, which that one I think did get pretty decent reviews and stuff. So
it got good reviews, yeah. I think the Russo brothers were asked about why he didn't become the new Captain America, and they kind of like tiptoed around it in a way by talking about his like mental struggles he's working on and finding himself again and getting rid of the brainwashing. And I think they said that because they do have the self-awareness to be like, yeah, we can't let this dude be like the new Captain America because he just got done turning Tony Stark's dad's face into pudding. Like,
yeah, that's like his whole plot line in that TV show, Captain America TV show, is going around and making amends for all the people he murdered and crap. Like, that's like his whole plot line.
He's going around and saying, "I'm sorry."
Basically, yeah. Sorry about that. I was a different guy back then.
They're like, he has like a bunch of cards or something, and he's like, "What's your name?"
He has a list. Like,
he does?
Yeah.
That's really funny. So he's just like, "All right, John, Greg, I ripped off your dad's head 22 years ago. I'm sorry about that.
Yes, that's basically the plot of.
I'm working on myself.
With that Captain America show.
Jesus Christ, dude! That just reminds me of the Whitest Kids You Know bit where it's Osama bin Laden hosting a like Price is Right style game show, and he keeps going, "I'm sorry for all the bad things that I did." It's like, Jesus Christ.
They should have Bucky, like, since he's a politician now, like, he should go to, like, schools and, like, show them his cool robot arm and stuff, and have, like, little, like, he's sitting around, like, a classroom, and he's like, "Look at this, kids," and he's like, does some funny crap with his robot arm.
This is the same. You ever heard of Tony Stark? You don't have a dad anymore, you know? This hand. This is the one.
Guess how many Nazis I've killed with this?
No, he helped them. How many Nazis I helped with this?
Oh yeah. Well, didn't he kill him afterwards?
I don't think so. Actually, no. He didn't even do anything in World War II. He was on ice himself for a little
That's
while.
why he fell off the train.
Yeah, he did. He helped the Soviets. He was like a tool of the Soviets.
You know, he's basically. Have you ever seen that movie Universal Soldier with Jean-Claude Van Damme and
Nope.
Dolph Lundgren?
Whoa!
It's like these guys from World War II, or not, sorry, Vietnam. And they're like, Dolph Lundgren's character is like the general or whatever, and he's gone crazy and he's like killing all these villagers. And Jean-Claude Van Damme's character is like, "I can't let you do that," and they get into a fight and they kill each other.
Huh.
And then the government takes their bodies and essentially puts them on ice and turns them into mind slaves to go and do like their bidding. It's exactly the same plot, actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh crap! All right, look this one up.
Yeah,
I saw that the original. It goes viral like multiple times a year, but the set photos of Jean-Claude Van Damme in the original Predator costume. Because he was the original. For anyone who doesn't know, when the movie Predator, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Predator, was like a complete, absolute disaster of a production that like got shut down at one point because of funding issues and stuff. But they also tore through a Predator design and actor, because at first it was Jean-Claude Van Damme in the alien costume, and it looked nothing like the Predator that ended up being the final product. It was like a weird like anteater bug head thing. And when you watch the making of and like you listen to the interviews, it really seems like when they had him wearing the contrasting red version of the suit, which was meant to become the blur special effect of it being invisible, he thought that was like the real thing. Like that's what it looks like in the movie. He's playing like a Crayola red crown creature running around the jungle like a ketchup bottle, and he thought it was really stupid, and it's like it's not what it's there for, but all right. Like it's so they can edit it out and make it invisible. Like, ooh. He got fired. He was like going too hard on the stunt guys and was beating people up.
Van Damme has some incredible movies, though. There's this movie called Lionheart that he has, where he like I can't remember what country he's from in that movie, but he runs away from the military service because his brother is like a gangbanger in New York, and his brother like gets it's not funny, but it's funny. His brother gets burned alive by these guys that are like, that's like a drug deal gone wrong, and his brother gets burned alive, and his last request is he wants to see his brother. So the military won't let him leave, so he escapes, and he comes to America, and he gets involved in this ring of underground street fights. Like it's like Mortal Kombat. I mean, they don't kill each other, but it's like that kind of like Street Fighter, I guess would be more accurate. Like
they get into Mortal Kombat in street fights.
I mean, like in terms of it's like two dudes fighting with a bunch of people surrounding them. Basically, it's like an audience. So it's like a fighting game movie in a way.
Huh.
It's like it's actually the same structure as that, because he has to go through this like tournament, and there's like the big boss guy at the end that he has to beat, and then it's all like revenge for killing his brother or whatever. But he's got that movie, and like of course Bloodsport, and like Time Cop, and
Time Cop,
like good, bad but good 80s movies, like just like entertaining.
There's a really funny South Park joke about Time Cop where it's the Walmart episode and they're like perusing Walmart, and they find like a DVD 3-pack. It's got 3 copies of Time Cop for only like $15 or something. And Kyle's like, I don't even want 1 copy of Time Cop.
You know, that reminds me of like I'm into collecting steelbooks and stuff, and like there's like this premium steelbook market. So like there's these companies like Manta Lab. It's like I think that one's a Chinese company, but there's some like South Korean companies. They make like they take like the normal steelbook and then they package it like in a full slip with like a booklet, and like it's got nice artwork and sometimes like lenticular covers and stuff. So you know, if you're like into collecting stuff like that, it's like a thing. But they sell this thing called a one-click, where because they'll usually like whenever they have the rights to like produce those for a movie, they'll produce like 3 variations of these premium steelbooks, and you can buy a one-click that has them all together in one box with like its special kind of outer casing, but it's just 3 copies of the same movie. Same exact steelbook. Also, it's just the only thing that's different is like the full slips for the steelbook. So it's like really weird.
Really weird. That's funny.
I bought one of them though. I bought the Substance from this company called Kimchi DVD. But you have to get on their website. Like it's time. It's like buying concert tickets. Like you have to get on there and like hit refresh and then buy it real quick before it sells out. But they go for like hundreds of dollars on eBay. Anyway, that just made me think of it because you're buying like 3 copies of the same movie.
Very true.
Which is funny.
You ever see Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever sat and watched the entire movie, but I've seen parts of it.
That was the movie that inspired Mortal Kombat.
Oh, that makes sense for sure.
Yeah, it's like the same plot. Like, come out to this.
That's basically Liu
place.
Kang, I think, is like Bruce Lee, essentially.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Jackie Chan's in it for like 2 seconds.
I started playing Mortal Kombat 1. I kind of got sidetracked because Death Stranding 2 came out. And I got obsessed with that, but Mortal Kombat 1's pretty cool. I like it. It seemed like a lot of people didn't like how they made all these changes, but I don't know. I think it's kind of cool, and in context of the overall story that's been going on for the last few games, I think it makes sense.
I need to get around to it. I never played
visually it looks really good. Plays pretty well. I'm not like a fighting game pro by any means whatsoever. Like I actually really suck at them, but I just think that franchise is really fun, and you don't really have to be good at it to like get through the story mode. I would never play online though. I'd just get instant. And there's like this whole etiquette thing on it. Like for me, like Mortal Kombat, it's like you beat your opponent, you do a fatality. You know, like that's the whole point of it. Otherwise, that's like one of the things that separates it from other fighting games. And then I was reading online, and like these people were like, it's not good etiquette to do fatalities at the end of the match because it wastes the other person's time by making them sit through an animation or whatever. Just like, why are you playing this game?
I misunderstood.
Like, that's the whole point of the game.
Yeah, but to say that's kind of weird. That's what
the entire franchise is built around that. Like that was back when it first came out. It was like you had Street Fighter and stuff, and then here comes this game where you can rip somebody's head off after you beat them. Like, that's the whole point of the game.
The Death Stranding 2 seems to be really good.
It's awesome. Did you ever play Death Stranding 1?
No, because that's like when I was no longer really keeping up with new stuff, and I don't even have any of the new consoles at all.
It's not. It's a weird game. Like it took me a long time to play Death Stranding 1 because I mean I love Kojima, like, but when that first came out, I was like, this is like too weird looking, and then everyone started calling it a walking simulator, which it's not at all. But like, I think it's the criticisms of that game. I think came from people that maybe only played it for 10 hours or something max, because it really opens up a lot after that.
That's really they only played it for 10 hours, which is like the average length of most games.
No, that's short. Like most games, I would say the vast majority of games I play, like especially open world games like that, like I'm gonna probably spend like 60 to 100 hours in that game. Like just you could blow through the story, I guess, but even if you did that, it's gonna take you like 30 or 40 hours. So I don't know.
Yeah. Excuse me. God. I don't know why I'm yawning all of a sudden. When I concentrate, I tend to yawn a lot more.
But Death Stranding 2, basically, if you liked the first one, it's everything that's awesome about the first one, but like with major improvements across the board, like quality of life improvements, like all kinds of stuff, like interesting new weapons. Like the story is not as like, I don't know, the first one had a little bit more kind of like a, I don't know how to describe it, like kind of moved along a little bit differently, but like this one is still cool though. Like, but the overall game world, the gameplays, some, you know, it's like everything, like I said, it's everything you would want from the first game but better. So like it's, so far it's really great. I don't know that I'll knock Claire Obscure off my game of the year list. I doubt it, but it's definitely going to be up there.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that, you know, Kojima's still belting out like successful, you know, well-received stuff, because I was just devastated with what happened with Metal Gear Solid 5, because like they didn't let him finish it, and it like got released in like a really weird state. And
yeah, and it sucks because it's actually a pretty cool game, but I never finished it. Once I found out that it's not actually finished, I kind of like lost interest in it.
Even
stopped playing.
Even when you look ahead, what was cut from the game still doesn't really make it complete, in my opinion. And I also don't even like the decisions that happen with the story, period. Because that was supposed to be like, not supposed to be. It's not my place to, you know, assume the direction of someone else's art, right? But that game was thought to be the kind of Revenge of the Sith chapter for that character, where that Metal Gear is in two halves. There's like a prequel half and like a mainline half. The mainline half following Solid Snake, and the prequel half following his dad, quote unquote, Big Boss. Who Big Boss is the villain of the original 2 Metal Gear games that Kojima ever made. So we knew that when they introduced this character in Solid 3, that at some point we're going to come full circle, and like he's gonna be the bad guy. And bad guy's in big quotations, because he's not like some kind of genocidal maniac, but he's the antagonist of those games. And it was thought that Metal Gear Solid 5 was gonna be that, and it sort of is, but then it takes like a real serious cop-out and just tells you in a twist moment, actually, you're not even playing as him. You're playing as the guy that had surgery to look like him.
Right. Yeah, the Phantom Pain or whatever.
Venom Snake is his
name. That prologue thing.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, come on, because that kind of like takes away from the impact of Solid 4's ending when he shows up and like makes peace with Solid Snake and like hugs him and everything. And like it makes that like less impactful, because now we know that he never was a bad guy. It's like, come on. And it's also just unfinished. So there's that too.
The gameplay is really fun though. Like it never gets
old. Oh, it is absolutely.
People to those balloon things.
Solid
like
5.
You essentially just kidnap people, and then the balloon takes them to the compound that you're building, and then they just work for you now.
Yeah, that's how it works. They give them a good program.
They don't try to shoot you or anything when you come back to your house. Like, oh, you're that guy that kidnapped me. Like, there's none of that. They're just like, no, you're just part of the group now.
So we'll see you on Monday, right? Like,
well, you can't leave anyway. We're on an island, floating island.
Look, I needed you because you had S-class genes in your attack stats, so like we needed you here.
Yeah, his games are awesome though. Like, there's nobody that makes games like that. It's like very unique style. Like, even just kind of the way the character moves around and stuff. It's like very unique to his games. Even Death Stranding, even though Death Stranding is not like a stealth game like that, like you can play some stealth, but it's not really about I mean, you have guns and you have stealth, and you have melee and everything. So there is action and fighting in it, but it's not really necessarily built around that. Like, it's more kind of like in some ways like a puzzle game, because you have to figure out how to get from point A to point B, and there's different methods to do that. But you know, and then the story is batshit crazy.
I got a kick out of the making of stuff that I found.
Like, it's like insane, but in a good way though. It's unique and interesting. But I want to play Metal Gear Solid 4 again, because I've only played it once on PS3. I want them to remake it, because it came out during that like everything is brown phase in video games.
too accurate. Yeah, I'm playing it right now. I've been streaming it on the channel the past like month.
Oh, that's cool.
So tomorrow I'll be streaming Act 4, which is where you go back to Shadow Moses. But like, I've been playing it very differently because like I have played that game in its like purest form, as in hardest difficulty, all stealth, no killing anybody. Like, I've done that, and it's hard as hell. But I'm playing it right now for the streams in a much more jokey fashion, where one of the bonus outfits you can equip is like Altair's Assassin's Creed outfit, which makes the stealth like almost impossible. So I've been trying to like navigate the game like that, and it's been really funny. But that's also where it really highlights how good the gameplay is, because much like Solid 5, like it can be this like totally serious, we're gonna sneak everywhere, no one will ever see us, non-lethal, whatever, like stealth espionage experience. Or what you also have like under the hood is like a very competently made like third-person action shooter game that like lends itself really well to the action parts too. Like it's really cool how well-rounded the whole thing is.
I love that game, and I remember even being sad that Solid Snake is all old in it.
Yeah,
this like genetic thing makes him age rapidly.
I'm no hero.
Then,
I never was.
Yeah, but it's just cool. Like, so I skipped Metal Gear Solid 3. I've never played that game. Like, it's the only Metal Gear game I haven't played. But I just, for some reason, at the time when it came out, I was just turned off by the fact, because it's like you had Metal Gear Solid 1, which was just like a really odd, like when that game came out, it was like kind of a revelatory, like it was like a very like unique game, and it had all kinds of cool stuff in it that you'd never seen in any game before. And Solid Snake was a cool character, and then Metal Gear Solid 2 comes out and like kind of pulls the rug out from under you, and you play as Raiden the whole time. So when Metal Gear Solid 3 came out, I'm like, oh, maybe they'll bring Solid Snake back, but it's not Solid Snake, it's a Big Boss. And I'm like, like it just, and then I tried playing it and then crawling around and like having to, like, the aspect of gathering stuff, like animals and stuff to eat and like all that kind of stuff at the time didn't appeal to me. Like a lot of games have that now, and like I do like that in some games. So anyway, I've been wanting to revisit that game, but I'm happy there's that remake that's coming out.
I was about to say, here comes your chance.
Yeah, so like I'm hoping that the remake's successful, so that they'll remake, because I know they did 3 first because it chronologically takes place first. So like hopefully they'll do Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 4 after that, like if it's successful enough.
It would be really cool. That would be Konami taking a page out of what Capcom has done with Resident Evil, and I think that it could work just as well, because the thing about Solid 3, I played it in its original form and I didn't really like it all that much, because the way it's designed, it's way harder for that game to work from the bird's eye top-down perspective, because you don't have like the sight cones and stuff on the radar screen, because radar doesn't even exist for that character. But then they released a special version of it called the subsistence version, and that's the version that's on all of the collections that one's in, and that was like the prototype for Metal Gear Solid 4's gameplay, and I thought that like fixed everything. I was like, oh, this is great. The remake's going to take that to the next level, and I'm really excited for it. I've actually never completed Metal Gear Solid 3 on my own, but I've seen the game in its entirety, watching like movie cuts of it and stuff. So I'll definitely be digging into it though when the remake comes out.
I read that they are actually using all the same gameplay, because it's just like a visual overhaul. So I'm not sure how much is going to change from the subsistence version, but if that fixed everything anyway, then that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it did. It absolutely did. It was really well.
But I think probably the first time when I tried to play that game, it was probably the original version of it before that update. So
it's way harder. The environments are like so big compared to Solid 2, which still had the bird's eye view, which is fine because it's like tighter interiors and you have the sight cones on the map and whatnot. You didn't have that in 3, and it was way bigger open environments.
Yeah, it seemed a little more like at the time, coming from 1 and 2 being more like smaller corridors and more linear, than like all of a sudden now you have this kind of open areas and you have to, it just was, I guess at the time, a little overwhelming. But I think I would like it a lot more now, because my sensibilities have changed as far as like what I like in video games now. So I'm looking forward to playing that for sure. But I want a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake, because that's another game I've been really wanting to play, but I just can't do the PlayStation 1 graphics. And I know there was like that kind of remake for GameCube. But
yeah, about to say Twin Snakes.
It's not the same thing though, is it? Like it's framed differently or something. It's some kind of story element's different. It's not like a one-to-one remake, is it?
It is. It mostly is. I think they just use the more advanced hardware to like lengthen out a lot of the cutscenes to tell more of a story, but it's still the same game.
Speaking of that game, one of the coolest things was, I remember, I guess it's not I mean, it would still be cool even today, I think, in a game, but like there's this part where you're fighting the Mantis guy, Psycho Mantis.
Yeah.
And he tells you to put your controller on the floor, and he like vibrates it,
makes it
moves it around.
He checks your memory too.
That's cool. That's such a cool concept to like just think of that in a game. Like, hey, we have this functionality in this controller now, because that was new at the time, you know, and to just actually use that in some kind of like creative way, even though it's not like necessarily a gameplay thing, it's just still like a cool like feature. Like it's just like a cool idea that like I can't think of any other games that would do something like that, or like any other kind of game directors that would do something like that.
Yeah, the fourth wall stuff in all of them is pretty great, because that was one of them. And there's like a part where like in that same encounter, so like he reads your mind, and like what he'll do is he'll give you like he'll read off certain games that are on the same memory card. He'll be like, right, I see you like playing Super Smash Brothers, like on the GameCube version.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then if you don't save the game ever, he's like, oh, your mind is well shielded. I don't see any saves. You're a risky man. But also, there's a pretty funny thing. I don't know how this is framed in the PlayStation 1 version. I think it's the same though, but like Colonel Campbell's just like straight up like, Snake, I figured it out. You got to change the controller to socket number 4. Like, yeah. It just says it straight up.
I only played that game on PlayStation. I never played the like remake or whatever.
I think you said socket 2 on the PlayStation version. It's the same principle. You even have to do that if you play it on PlayStation 3, which is how I originally played it. You actually have to press like the PlayStation's pause menu, and like apparently, if I'm remembering this correctly, it was like only a thing done for this game. You can go into the settings of the game's app and like you change the controller assignment to 2, even though like that doesn't exist for the PS3. Like that's not how it works. But you could do it for that because you had to, otherwise you can't beat him. But there are 2 insane fourth wall breaks in 4 that are hilarious. One is you're at the same point in Shadow Moses as Snake was in the original game, and Otacon calls him and says, Snake, it's time for you to change to disc 2. I know it's a real pain, but you gotta do it. And he's like, what are you talking about? And then he goes, oh, we're on a PlayStation 3. That's right. It uses Blu-ray discs, and they're dual layered too. What do they think of next? It's like, Jesus Christ. But Psycho Mantis also comes back. He makes a cameo toward the end, and he'll do the same controller thing, but then when he attempts to read your memory, he goes, there's no memory cards anymore. I don't know what's going on.
See, that's why I want to replay that game, because I just only vaguely remember stuff. I played it when it was brand new. I played it through once, and I haven't played it since then. And I remember thinking it was awesome, but I never got to play it again because my PS3 died, and then they never released it on any other system.
Yeah, it just like it died on the PS3. Like it's never escaped that system.
Yeah.
It's so weird. You'd think that they would have done a PS4 or 5 exclusive port or something. I get why it didn't come to Xbox, but I was perplexed.
But why wouldn't they have it on streaming? I mean, not streaming, like PlayStation Store or like even PC or something by now. It's got to be like a rights thing or something.
There has to be some really weird rights issue that's holding that one up specifically. It's really strange because I remember that they did like a new HD collection. Yeah, the Master Collection. That's what it's called. The Metal Gear Solid Master Collection that came out for PS5 and Xbox and Switch, and 4 is the only one that's not there. And it's like, what's going on? You have all the other ones, dude. It's really weird.
But yeah, it's cool that he's still making games like that. I think he has this game coming up after Death Stranding 2 called, I think the code name for it's like Physint, like Physint. and he said that it's going to be his like return to the stealth genre.
Ooh.
Because he was like, I was just I can't remember the story. It was something kind of like, oh, he was sick when he had COVID or something, and he just thought, like in a dream or something, he was like, I should do a stealth game. Very like that. So then, yeah, they're developing that, and there's some horror game he's supposed to be developing also.
It's a real bummer that they canceled his Silent Hill thing he was going to do.
Yeah. I never played that PT demo, but I remember it being like this huge thing.
People loved it, yeah. It was really good. It was really cool. His tweets are amazing, by the way. I don't know. I've shared some of them to you, where it's like, do you enjoy? Are you gonna like? Yeah, how did it feel? You know, to voice Hideo Kojima, and he's like, it was great. Are you gonna play that role again? No. It's like,
yeah,
so funny.
Yeah, probably not.
And Norman Reedus talking about him was pretty funny too, because like, I think it was the first game, not the second game this is from, but people were asking him like, what's it like to work with Hideo? And he's like, oh yeah, you know, he's got these great ideas, and like, I don't understand them like at all, but I can see that he's passionate about them. And he'll be on the set doing motion capture, and he'll just yell out, now look up, there's a whale.
I thought of that when I was playing Death Stranding 2, because there's a part where you go through this like gate thing that like can transport you to another part of the world or whatever, and the flying whales is just part of it's hard to say what's going on there without having played the game, because the story is, like I said, crazy. But they're like these spirit things basically, and they do fly through the sky like that. So like there's a scene where in this game where you go through this gate for the first time, and the cutscene happens, and he looks up, and the whale floats over his head, and I was like, that's probably the scene Mike was talking about. But like, it might be from the first game, because they do have that first game too.
I think it was older. I think that particular clip was from that, because the way he talks about not understanding it contrasts with current day interviews, because Reedus said that Death Stranding 2 was like easier for him to like understand and like actually understand.
Yeah, the story's a little like more straightforward so far, I would say.
Yeah,
it's like so far it's a little bit more simple. I'm sure it'll open up more as I go on. I think I'm like 30% done according to PlayStation, so I don't know. But there's some cool little like touches in it, like you mentioned, the fourth wall stuff that we like about his games. Like, for example, when you're in your like private room or whatever, you've probably seen pictures of where he's sitting on a bed or whatever, and you got like your energy drinks over here, and you can take a shower or whatever, and you can get up and look at the sink and look at yourself in the mirror, and you can customize, like you put different sunglasses on or like a different hat. You know, it's like any game where you can like customize your character's look, but he reacts to it. So like I put these goofy ass goggle glasses on him and like a backwards hat that says "Why me?" and then I hit OK, and he looks at himself in the mirror and he's like, "Yeah, no." I just think that stuff's so cool, because it's like it makes it feel like he's like a real character, like a real person almost, because you're like making him do stuff he doesn't want to do.
There's a lot of like notable actors that are in that whole thing. He's got quite the
all of them are actual actors,
or
he'll do stuff like cameos. So like George Miller, like the movie director that made Mad Max, like he's in the game as a character. He's like the captain of like your ship or whatever, or not the captain, he's like the pilot, I guess, whatever you call that on a ship. And it's his face and everything, but the voice is someone else. And they did the same thing with Guillermo del Toro. Like he's in it, but it's not him actually voicing the character. Like he's been in both games, but it works fine, because I don't really know what either of them sound like anyway. Well, I know what George Miller sounds like, and I guess the voice actor sounds kind of similar to him. Guillermo del Toro, I think they did maybe just because like to make him his accent a little less or something, or maybe he just didn't want to do the voice acting for some reason. I'm not really sure. But then you got like Norman Reedus, who actually does obviously his own stuff, and whatever the girl's name that plays, I don't know what her name is, Leah Seydoux or something. She's like a French actress. Yeah. She does the other main character, Fragile. But Elle Fanning's in this movie, and in this game, I mean. Yeah, there's a bunch of like actual well-known actors, and they make them look like, it's almost like a movie where it's just that's the person playing the character. They don't like alter their look at all. Like Norman Reedus looks like Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
He doesn't have kind of like weird stuff. So I think it's pretty cool. You can tell Kojima, like I think he's talked about it in interviews, but you can tell he's like kind of, even though his medium's gaming, he kind of thinks of himself like a filmmaker. Like a lot of the cutscenes and stuff, like in this game especially, the way they're composed and like the way the shots are and focus changes and stuff, it's really like film-like, which is cool.
Yeah, I've always got that vibe from the Metal Gear games. Feel like they're interactive movies, basically. Even the PS1 one has a shocking amount of dialogue and things like that in it for the time, and that only would continue with the sequels, because I mean, Solid 4 alone, I think, has like 10 hours worth of cutscenes in it.
That one's probably the most of any of the games I've played. Like neither I've seen people try to criticize Death Stranding for having long cutscenes, but it really doesn't. Like there's not really any kind of crazy, hour-long cutscene or something in it. Like it's, what game has the longest cutscenes I've ever played is Quantum Break, because they actually made these. That's a really cool game, by the way.
You're talking about the one that has Iceman from X-Men, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one of the launch titles for the Xbox. Well, not launch title, but it was one of the big exclusives, I should say.
That game is really sick. Like I like it a lot. Like I had a lot of fun with it, and it's not too long. I think you can beat it in like 15, 20 hours or something like that. But the gameplay is like super fun. But the cutscenes are, because they have like the actual act, just like with Death Stranding, like they have the actual actors playing the characters in the game, like visually represented in the game. And for the cutscenes, they actually made like a TV show.
Yeah,
it's like
I have it.
It's
I've
like
played
actual,
it.
like TV show quality. Oh, you have? Yeah.
Yeah. But keep
But
explaining.
they're long. They're like 45 minutes long each. So it's like it kind of breaks up the gameplay a little bit. I actually watched all of them because I wanted to see the story. But you kind of like, I think that's like a little too long. It's a cool experiment, but like, I get what they're going for there. But it's just kind of like, I just want to play the game now. So like, I don't know.
Well, I think in that particular example, it's weird that the two mediums are colliding, because like you bought the game, you didn't buy a TV show. So I don't think that.
And I think they just wanted to kind of show off how the graphics have gotten to the point where they can kind of seamlessly change between, live action and a game, and it kind of works like that. I don't know. It's fine. I don't even mind. Like live action cutscenes have been a thing since back in the like Sega CD days, but it's like you just don't really like. They're just too long, Like I don't necessarily want to watch like a 45-minute episode of a show every like hour or 2 hours of gameplay,
Right.
Like, but anyway, it's still a cool game. Though. I really like it a lot. It's just I don't. If I ever play it again, I'll be skipping the cutscenes.
I remember that. I think Lance Reddick was one of the people that was in the live action stuff, right?
Yeah, he's in the game in general. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
All the people that are in the live action stuff are in the game.
All right. Yeah, I remember that it played really well. It was cool. It's cool time, power things you do in that game. It's a good game.
Remedy makes cool games. Like
there were
Control's another game that they made that's really awesome.
Those kind of first couple of years of the Xbox One were all right. I remember liking a lot of the exclusives that came out around that time. Insomniac's Sunset Overdrive was pretty fun and good. That game was good. Quantum Break, and then there were some others. Now they've lost their way.
I don't really understand what they're doing. Like it's like I get Game Pass, but like Game Pass is not. You're not like. I want a reason to buy an Xbox. Like I want like when the first Xbox came out, you had to have Halo. Like that was like, I'm buying an Xbox because they have Halo. Just like I'm buying whenever Nintendo comes out with. I mean, I might actually buy a Switch 2 for that Donkey Kong game, to be honest. But like whenever they come out with like a Mario game, that's like a killer app. Like I'm buying one for that game. I'll buy a PlayStation, for all their like cool exclusives that they have. Microsoft gives me zero reason to buy them Xbox, and it's a weird business model on me because like even if I'm buying Game Pass, which I don't because I don't know. To me, if I'm spending money on a game, I just want to own it, and so it's like I just haven't really gotten into the Game Pass thing, but like I get, I don't know. I just give me like some games to like buy I want to buy an Xbox, but I have no reason to because they just put all their games on PC or Game Pass day one, and it's like, why? Like, there's no point in me going out and spending $400, and then they're talking about coming out with a new console. Like, but why? Like, you're trying to kill your current console. It seems like I just don't understand what they're doing. I bet there's like it'll probably come out eventually. I bet there's some like internal crap going on that's like causing all this weird stuff.
Yeah, because they just laid off a ton of people this week, like 9,000 people, and studios, one or more was shuttered as a result, and it canceled a project. Let me see here. They canceled a particular game. I forget what it was, but it might have been like good.
I just think like the whole like everything's an Xbox is stupid. Like it's like then you're diluting your brand to the point where you're just like a piece of software. You're essentially just a launcher. Like on that new Asus ROG Ally thing that they're coming out with. It's like the Xbox version.
Yeah.
It's just a PC, and you can load all of your Steam games through the Xbox app. Why the hell would I ever buy games on the Xbox app? I'm just playing Steam games. You just have a launcher now. Like, you're not even a platform at that point. Like, I don't really get it.
Perfect Dark. There was like a remake of Perfect Dark or something that was canceled as a result of this.
Yeah, and that's a thing that would sell systems. Like, that game was popular. It was made by Rare after GoldenEye's success, and it's got a cool setting and all that. And that would be a system seller if they came out with that. Like, and you can only buy it on Xbox and not Game Pass day one and not PC. They should do like what I know Microsoft owns Windows, obviously, so like they're not, they get the money either way. But it's like I don't understand why you wouldn't want to have a game like that that's just exclusive to your console, so that people have to buy your console. I don't know. There's like been all these arguments on gaming forums and stuff, and like online where people think it's like anti-consumer to have exclusives, but I'm like, you have to have exclusives because otherwise there's no reason anyone's gonna buy your thing. Like, why would I buy a PlayStation if there was no exclusive games for it? Like, that's the only reason I own one, because there's games that come out for it. Like, I want to play Death Stranding 2. You can only play it on PlayStation 5. Eventually it'll be on PC if I want to wait a year. But like, I want to play it now, and the only way I can is to have a PS5. So like that's just how it works, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Like, I don't know. I've always owned like all the consoles for that reason, just so I can play whatever games I want.
Yeah, they really, I don't know what's going on with them these days, because they buy all these studios and then things don't get better, they just get worse. More cuts.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. They don't even. It's like they just kill all the studios that they buy.
They're doing exactly what EA used to do. It's all that's happening. That's like the EA playbook is to buy a studio and then just shutter it immediately.
What's the gain for that? Like, they get the IP, I guess.
Well, I wouldn't say shutter immediately. Rather, the EA playbook is you buy a studio and you make them make a game that they've like have zero experience in developing. I.e., take the people that made Dead Space and tell them you're making the next Battlefield, which is what happened with Battlefield Hardline, and then it doesn't do well. So you go, well, you guys suck, so we're gonna close you down. EA did that like 3 or 4 times over like an 8-year period. And Microsoft hasn't quite done that, but they also have done things very similar. Because among the cuts that just happened, on top of Perfect Dark being canceled, Rare had been developing some kind of big adventure game thing called Everwild for like a decade, and that got shut down too. And it's like, can you let Rare make anything good, please? Like, you buy them.
Rare even made? Like, I mean, I think of Rare when Donkey Kong Country came out and Killer Instinct, and they had these like cool. That was like right before the, it was kind of like late stage Super NES, right before N64 and all that hype about them using like silicon graphics and all that kind of crap back in the day. And the games looked cool. Like they had this like really unique graphic style. Donkey Kong Country games were awesome. Killer Instinct was a big hit. And then they made Perfect Dark, right? Yeah, that's Rare, right?
I don't
Is
remember.
GoldenEye Rare? I can't remember.
Well, no, they did. Well, maybe I don't remember. But they, as far as the N64 era goes, Banjo-Kazooie and its sequel. They had Donkey Kong Country 64. They had Conker's Bad Fur Day, I think, as well.
Yeah, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
They were killing it.
Perfect Dark was a Rare game.
Perfect Dark was? Okay.
And 007 GoldenEye.
Okay. They were on fire.
They made all those great games. Like, what have they even made ever since Microsoft bought them?
That's the thing.
Like, have they even made any games?
Kinect Sports. They
Really?
did those.
What? They haven't made anything since like the year 2000 or something.
No, they make garbage for Microsoft. They made them make Kinect Sports and crap like that. They canceled Banjo-Kazooie 3 and then had them do a bunch of this random sports crap.
So they had like this run of. They've been around since the 80s, but ooh, they made Jeopardy.
Oh well, argument over.
So they made. Trying to start with like games that we would know.
I'm trying to pull.
No, they made
list.
Battletoads back in the day. That was a fun. And they made a lot of Ballard. Okay, there we go. So mid 90s, you had Donkey Kong Country, Killer Instinct, Donkey Kong Country 2, like Killer Instinct 2, Donkey Kong Country 3, GoldenEye, Diddy Kong Racing, Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, Donkey Kong 64, Perfect Dark. Tons of games like that. What have they made since?
Sea of Thieves is their biggest thing, probably since then.
All right, Kinect Sports, the Killer Instinct, like kind of newer version, I guess.
I don't think they made that.
See,
Did they
it
make
says
that?
they did.
Oh, did
Yeah,
they? I thought it was Double
from
Helix.
2013, Killer Instinct. Sea of Thieves and Battletoads. There's a new Battletoads. Well, anyway, that's it. Ever since Kinect Sports, they've made that Killer Instinct, Sea of Thieves, and Battletoads.
Jesus Christ. It's so
What a
sad.
waste.
It really is. And they're making something else and it just got canceled. It's like, God, dude, like you buy them and then you just make them make garbage. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just so weird to me. It's like, why? What?
The mismanagement with Xbox. I mean, debatably from the beginning, they're a company that kind of fumbled into success because although the Xbox 360 was like very famous, it was still its own disaster. Like it was, half of the consoles were red ringing and were failures, and like there were all kinds of issues with it. I don't even think it was profitable. It was that bad.
The 360 was their peak. The original Xbox, I remember the guy that kind of was like responsible for developing that. He seemed to actually. I remember reading some interviews. I used to love like video game magazines back in the day, like EGM and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of like early internet wasn't as good for that sort of news, so it was still like magazines. And I remember reading some interview with that guy. He seemed to like genuinely, he would go and like talk to gamers, for a CEO guy or whatever. He would go and like, he actually seemed to like really care about making a console that people would think was cool and like actually like it, even though the thing was like a huge brick, but like it was kind of unique. And then, Halo was a big hit. The Xbox 360, I think was really, personally, I think the only reason it was as successful as it was is because Sony completely dropped the ball with the PlayStation 3.
Oh, yeah.
It was like way too expensive. It wasn't really, it was just too complicated to develop for, I think, from what I remember reading about. And weirdly, like, I don't know, they just kind of fumbled with that. And I think that's Because I think eventually it did catch up, right? Like sales wise, I
It
think
did.
eventually it did catch up.
It was like the last couple years of its cycle. It ended up passing the Xbox 360. That's only after it was revised completely into a much thinner console for like half the price of when it originally came out.
Yeah. Oh well. Switching subjects, I would say, have you any thoughts on the new Superman movie yet?
I haven't seen it yet. It's not out yet.
Well, I know I don't mean like what do you think about it. I just mean, is there anything new that you've learned about it that you think is cool, or have you just been kind of avoiding?
I'm trying to avoid stuff now because the movie is now out in some territories, so you're starting to see discussion of it in more specific terms. So I'm trying to kind of stay away from that. I mean, I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be cool.
I think it's gonna be cool too. I'm curious how like your general public's gonna take it, being because we watched the trailer. It's so like I love that they're leaning into like more comic book side of things, but I'm curious because Superman's generally hasn't really been portrayed that way. Like just like the dog itself shows you like how different it's gonna be. And I'm just curious if people, it's going to depend on the tone James Gunn goes with. I think if it's too campy, then I don't know that people will like it. But if it goes like the Guardians of the Galaxy route, where it's got some fun stuff like that, but it's also got like a lot of heart and soul to it, then I think like people are going to love it. But it's kind of hard to tell from the trailers what it's going to be like because they're doing the, especially like the newest trailers. They're just doing that Hollywood thing where they just throw all the action scenes in there, and it's like I can't really tell what the tone is really like. Like it almost seems like too cartoony in some ways, like from some of the scenes in the trailer, out of context. So I'm like curious how it's all going to come together in terms of like. I mean, I'm. It's one of those movies where like I know that I'm going to enjoy it, but like I'm just curious like how. Other people that aren't comic book nerds and stuff are gonna like I don't know, because I want it to be successful because I want them to lean more into that kind of stuff, especially after watching all those animated movies. I'm like, some of that stuff would be really cool in a live action movie.
Yeah, I have hope it'll be good. I already had my tickets purchased because they're filling up.
Yeah, I bought IMAX tickets like as soon as they went on sale.
I'm seeing it next Sunday.
Yeah, I'm going on Saturday, I think, the 12th.
Oh, so I'm going the day after you then.
Yeah. So cool.
Yeah,
I was watching an interview with that David Cornsweet guy. He seems to like. I mean, it could just, he's an actor, so you never really know, I guess. But like, he seems genuine. Like, he seems like he really kind of embodies a lot of those like qualities that character needs to have. So I think that's pretty cool. But I don't know. I trust James Gunn. I mean, I haven't seen any of his movies that I thought were like terrible. Guardians 2 was kind of but it wasn't bad or anything. Yeah. And Guardians 3 is amazing. Like that's just like awesome movie. And I love his Suicide Squad movie a lot. I know that one was kind of controversial to some people as well, but I think those are people that like that terrible first movie, which I don't understand how anybody can like.
Yeah, I've met people that do unironically, and I'm just like endlessly perplexed by them. Need to like take them in for study. I remember.
I think that's one of the worst superhero movies ever made. Like it's absolutely dreadful.
That was one of the first 4K Blu-rays I ever owned too, because it was like the newest thing at the time, and I didn't know that it was bad. And I bought it, and me and two friends were gonna watch it together, and right away there was problems because I open up the case and it's like 4K Blu-ray, and then it's like the extended cut that's not on 4K, and I'm already like, well, so my first 4K Blu-ray, and we can't even watch it in 4K because we're like, well, we gotta see that. Regular version.
It's like what they did with Star Wars when Blu-ray first came out. They released a Blu-ray of Star Wars, and it had a DVD of the theatrical cuts that are not special editions. Like they were the actual like original, non-messed with special or original versions, but they were only on the DVD, whereas the special editions were on Blu-ray. It's like that's the last time they ever released those original versions.
Yeah, because there was like a bunch of buzz recently, like a month or two ago, about like some early version of the original movie being a thing, but that wasn't what that sounded like. It really was. That was like an assembly cut, which is like early production footage strung together. Stuff isn't done yet. Like it's not the same thing as watching the unaltered theatrical cut, guys. Like that, you're watching like the kind of like overview. That's like, okay, I see where we're going with this, but you got many more months left to work on this. Like it's different.
I think the only way that we're ever gonna get those is just those like fan versions, like the Army's despecialized or whatever versions that you can download. But I don't know. It's annoying. That whole situation is so annoying.
Yeah, I've never really known any other filmmaker to do firmware updates to their movies like he does. With
Well,
those.
even if they do changes, they'll usually make, like the notorious one was Spielberg, where he rather stupidly like replaced the cops' guns with walkie-talkies or whatever.
Yeah.
ET, and like everyone was like, "Why would you change that?" Like it's just how the like stop mess. Like, okay, maybe things are different in modern times, but when the movie was made, that was the choice you made. Like, just let it be, like. But at least he was smart enough to actually put both versions on the Blu-ray or whatever, so like you could just watch whichever version you wanted to, and that's
Not
how
only,
it should be.
yeah, because there were more changes because there's like ET himself had like multiple effects shots that were made where he's like running around.
Yeah, they look like crap.
They do. They look atrocious. And that's
stuff like that. Like I
probably
don't in principle mind, as an artist myself, I don't mind the idea of people going back and tinkering with old stuff, but you never make it better. Like once you've finished with something, you go back and you're like, you have different sensibility now, or just things change, and you might be like, oh, I could have done that better, and the temptation to go back and do it is there, but it's like you're always going to mess it up, like because you're not the same as you were when you made it. Just like let it be as its thing, and then if you want to make the special edition version, that's fine, but don't erase the other one from history as if it doesn't exist or whatever. That's just stupid, and it's like kind of depriving people, or not only fans, but like gave you a shitload of money going to see those movies from ever being able to like watch them again properly if they don't like the honestly 90% super lame changes that you made to your own movie.
But to say, because they're all with Star Wars specifically, they're all so tacky. It's just adding a bunch of junk. Like you're not
like the scene with Han Solo and Jabba the Hutt in the first Star Wars movie. Like there was a reason that scene was cut. Like it doesn't need to be there, and it also kind of screws up the mystery of seeing Jabba the Hutt for the first time.
See, it's funny you say that. That's the only one that I give a pass at, actually. And it's only for one reason, because that's actual footage of Harrison Ford, at least.
Yeah, I know, but it's just the scene itself is useless. Like, there's no reason to have it there. It was just put there just so he could be like, oh, look what we can do with computers now, or whatever, and replace this actor with the slug thing. And it had the whole big thing where Han Solo walks around him and he has to step on his tail, because like in the original footage, it's a human.
Yeah.
He walks around the guy. Well, now he has a tail, so we have to make him look a little crappy digital step up when he goes over his tail. It's just stupid. Like, why put in all that effort for like a completely pointless scene that looks terrible? Which I think they've redone the special effects on that a couple of times.
Multiple. That scene has like, I think at least 4 distinct versions of it.
It's like just that. Like, oh god, man. The only movie that I think kind of comes out mostly unscathed is Empire Strikes Back. It has like the least changes, and I don't mind changes to like clean up special effects and stuff. I think that's fine. Like, get rid of those matte boxes and crap from the take like all the special effects, like ship stuff from the special editions, and leave that in there, and get rid of all the other stupid crap that you added in, like the singing guys in the cantina.
Hey, whoa! Like, you want to get rid of nice noodles?
Yes, never should have existed.
Funny micro story about that. When I place I used to work at in the past, when it was closing time, I would connect my phone to a big sound bar, and I would blast that song. It's called Jedi Rocks. If you didn't know, is the name of the song from Return of the Jedi in Jabba's palace. So when they're singing that whole song and it's like that whole thing, it's called Jedi Rocks. And I would blast that, so it'd be like closing time and you hear from the back and like it would start going, and pretty much immediately they'd all be screaming from the front of the store for me to turn that off. I don't know why. It's a great song.
Like, that's hilarious. But I was just thinking, like, that movie. So, you know, I was too young to see those movies in the theater when they first came out. So when I was a teenager and kind of first got into Star Wars with my friends, we used to watch, you know, just like the Star Wars, you know, it was just Star Wars. And we used to just watch them on VHS. And then it was so cool when those finally came out in the theater again, because I was like, oh, I finally get to go see Star Wars in the theater. And then that happened, or like any of the other stupid crap, and you're just kind of like I wanted to just walk out whenever I saw that. I'm just like,
how dare you? This is cinema.
No, it's not.
Martin Scorsese said that was cinema, okay?
I mean, why would Martin Scorsese say that? He's probably just being nice to George Lucas because George Lucas is his buddy or something.
No, he definitely didn't say that. I'm
okay, I was going to say, like, Martin Scorsese is an actual filmmaker. Like, why would he say that?
I'm going to blackmail Martin Scorsese into saying that Jedi Rocks specifically is cinema.
His favorite part of Star Wars.
And remember, Mr. Scorsese, what I've told you to say. He's like, I love Jedi Rocks. It's really great. It's cinema. It speaks to me.
What's that phrase that's going around right now? Peak cinema, or what is it? Ultimate?
I think it's
what
peak. I think it's peak cinema. Peak cinema. Yeah, Jedi Rocks, definitely peak cinema.
I went to play mini golf with my friend recently, and he just in the middle of some conversation, he's like, I hate it when people say peak cinema. I was like, what are you talking about, dude? I've never heard that before. So then I looked it up, and it's like all over the place. Like, what?
I tell you what's peak cinema is Godzilla snorting ocean coke and saving Rome.
Hell yeah. That movie's awesome. I need to buy that.
Watching scenes of it with Tori was hilarious, because the amount of the regress, there was like a change in action movies. They became a lot more self-aware about collateral damage after Man of Steel, kind of specifically, and it led to this era of movies that immediately followed that always made a point to be like, all the civilians have been evacuated. Like they do that for just no reason. Even like Batman versus Superman, like multiple times, is like, oh, thank God that the downtown is abandoned because it's after 5 o'clock and Doomsday's there. It's like, shut up. But it's really funny how backwards that went for Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire thing, because like, oh my God, the collateral damage and civilian casualties in that movie are off the damn chain.
They don't necessarily even like comment on it either. It's just like, oh, this entire city just got wiped out. But I just love that scene so much because that first monster isn't even hardly doing any damage, like relatively. And like Godzilla does like 200% more damage than that guy ever did. You know, just not even before he even does anything. Like just getting from the ocean to the guy to punch him or whatever. Like he kills like thousands of people. Like, he runs right through their houses and stuff.
He like sprints through the city just tearing it all to pieces.
Yeah.
And then the coup de grace of like blasting his atomic breath and making it an irradiated wasteland too. And then that lady has the gall to be like, he saved the city afterward.
He's our guardian.
She's like gaslighting other political officials into thinking that Godzilla's good, even though he's so not. She's like, he's the protector. And then at the end, having seen that, you know, me and Tori are going through it, and when it cuts to Rio, and it's like, and it says Rio, he goes, oh no, before it starts. And then again, it's like, holy shit, like Shimo like blasts an ice ray across the entire coastline, and everyone in those buildings is dead. Like, in the span of 2 seconds, probably kills like 50,000 people.
It's insane.
They saved the day though. It's all good. It's fine. They're doing a third one. You know about that, right?
Mm-mm.
I should say
Haven't heard of it.
fifth one.
Yeah,
I guess.
If you count, are we counting
all of them?
Kong, Skull Island?
Yeah,
as
yeah.
one of these?
Six.
So yeah, there's Godzilla, then there's got the second one, and then what was the third Godzilla movie?
There isn't really a third one. They did
it was
Godzilla.
versus Kong.
It's Godzilla, Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters, the first Godzilla and Kong. Why am I doing my fingers weird? Godzilla, chronologically, Skull Island, first Godzilla, second Godzilla, first Godzilla and Kong, second Godzilla and Kong. So this is the sixth one. Godzilla and Kong the third. And the villain is rumored to be Space Godzilla.
Which one's Space Godzilla?
That's the one that kidnaps Junior.
That's not King Ghidorah or whatever?
No.
Or what's the difference between Space God? Have I seen Space Godzilla?
I think it's the one that you like kind of slept through.
Oh, okay.
It's the one that has the drill face robot that likes drilling into things.
That's right. Okay. Yeah.
Mogera. Yeah, that one's kind of weird. I named my cat after one of those characters in that movie, though. Funny enough, even though I don't like it all that much. So yeah, apparently that's going to be the villain. Hard to say. People are already kind of pissed that it's another Godzilla and Kong movie. They want just Godzilla.
Well, they have that with the other Godzilla series. Like Godzilla -1. That's a great, fantastic just Godzilla movie.
True, but these are very distinct fan bases. I have learned that people are not fans of both in all instances.
I can see that because one's all about just monster action, and the other one's about because I've seen people complain about Godzilla -1 and like it's too much humans in it. And I'm like, have you ever seen like the original Godzilla movie? Like, what do you mean too much humans?
Too much humans. I'll tell you this. This is actually pretty funny. When -1 was in theaters, I saw it the first time. And I loved it, and then I wanted to see it a second time before it left theaters because God knows when it was going to come to Blu-ray. So I went to see it a second time, and this is like December at this point, like around December 3rd or whatever. Get in the theater, sit down in the chair, movie starts. The movie has just started, and this couple comes in late, and it's two people, and they're both wearing like these sweaters that have like bells on them, like holiday bells. So they come in late and they're like making all this racket, like as they come walking in late. And they have plastic bags too. They must have smuggled in food or something. So it's a whole noise thing of them just making like bells are dinging, and they had the plastic bag and they hobble up to their chairs. And I was like, man, that was distracting. Movie starts, movie's going, and it gets to a slow part that I know because now I'm seeing it the second time. So I go to the restroom, and as I'm coming back from the restroom, that same couple is now clinking and clanking their way out of the theater, and as they walk past me, I hear one of them grumbling, "Ain't no Kong in this shit. What the hell's going on?" Stupid bastard thought he was going to see one of the Godzilla Kong movies, and it's -1. And he waited so long to give up on it too. This is like halfway in the movie. Like, he waited a long time to be like, wait a minute.
Dude, what do people think they're going to see? Like, it's not that hard to just look and see what the movie you're purchasing a ticket for is.
Apparently it is. Thought that was just like genuinely so funny. Because he was like really pissed. He was like really angry in his voice. And again,
he probably went out for his money back.
And I'm like, how did you like because at that time the trailers for Godzilla and Kong: The New Empire were like new. So I'm like, you see the trailer for that, and you see this like pink Godzilla and King Kong's there, and they're punching stuff, big orange gorilla monster, and you go and you see -1. You should have been like red flags immediately because it's like World War II and everyone's all sad. It's like, this is not the same movie in the least.
But that movie, man, that movie's so good. Like, it has this that scene where they go to like hunt Godzilla in the little fishing boat or whatever, and he's like following them, like that's such a cool scene, like, and it looks really cool. Like I'm just so appreciative of what they did with that movie, like with such a low budget, and it actually like won an Oscar and stuff. Like I just think that's like just awesome. Like it's just like a cool movie. But yeah, hey, when does Shin Godzilla come out in theaters?
Another month. It's like the second week of August, I think. I put a calendar reminder. Let me look.
I definitely want to go see that. That movie's cool as hell.
Oh, did I not put a calendar reminder? I need to. Shin Godzilla theater.
I want to get like a movie poster of that.
Let's take a look. Another funny thing about -1 too is that Tori and I saw it August 14th.
Okay.
It's a Thursday. That's right. Tori and I, to see that we saw that together. And the only time that like worked for us was this like 7:30 showtime, and it was like the 4DX thing, and I didn't know what that was.
Oh,
I just yeah, dude. So I'm like, all right, let's just do this one because we can both see it at the right time. So meet up at the theater, go in the 4DX thing, have no idea what the hell it is, and get in the chairs, and we're already both kind of like scared because the chairs have like buttons on them for like water and stuff, and we're like, oh fuck. And no one was prepared for this, dude. I told this story before. We had a dedicated podcast about it like 2 years ago, but I'll tell it again real fast. The movie starts and the 4DX thing kicks in, and the chairs are like moving with the movie, and when the plane's landing, the chairs are like delicately like leaning into the landing, and then they like kind of like jiggle a little bit when it stops. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. That's kind of cool effect there. And there's like fans blowing on you too, so that the wind is kind of hitting you. Oh shit. So in that movie, Godzilla just like charges out of the darkness out of nowhere and like levels the sentry tower. And you go from like, this is pretty nice, to like like,
you know what
the whiplash was crazy. And there's a lady next to me who like wasn't paying attention, and her phone got like thrown out of her hand. And during all this, she is like half in her chair, bent over as it's rocking all around, and she's trying to fish for her phone on the floor. And she's getting like bashed around and stuff, trying to get her phone. It was awesome. And he had to like, Tori had this like tin popcorn bucket, and he was too scared to keep it in his lap. He kept putting it on the floor. He's the one to like launch out of his chair and like bean somebody.
That's why you need the Dune. You need the Dune special bucket with the.
He had a Beyonce bucket. There wasn't a Godzilla one, so he bought the other one that was available. It's like this metal Beyonce thing.
Or something? Like, what is it?
She had some kind of music thing going on, and there was a commemorative Beyonce tin popcorn bucket.
Like you eat the popcorn out of her mouth or something.
No, it was just like a super normal popcorn bucket. It just said Beyonce on it.
I'm picturing like the special buckets with like the cat thing on the top.
Oh, God, that'd be pretty cool. The other highlight was that he whispered about we're both like so surprised at how violent the seats are and how there's no like seat belts or nothing. And he made a reference that like was like, you know, someone's grandma would get like launched out of the chair, and he goes like, "Grandma, no!" And like him whispering that to me was like so funny, and it happened like right before an incredibly serious moment in the movie, and I'm sitting there and trying not to laugh out loud because what he just whispered in my ear about grandmas flying over the railings, and the mist machine was like broken, so that like, one of the effects is that it would shoot out like vapor to simulate smoke. But that didn't work right, and like there were parts where it was like two characters talking alone, and they'd be like, "Oh, it's so dramatic," and you know, you have to live, and then like, psst, this like smoke shoots up out of the bottom of the theater. It was honestly terrible. Like, to be straight up,
there's been two things. I've never been to a 4DX movie, but like the concept makes me think of this old ride they used to have at Carowinds. It was called Days of Thunder, like when Paramount used to own Carowinds, and they had all
Oh, that's the
themed,
that's the
like,
Tom Cruise
stuff.
NASCAR thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like you get in a seat, the hydraulic seat like that, and it would just show. I can't remember if they were clips from the movie directly or if they were made for the ride or whatever, but it was just scenes like, of that movie where you have like the camera on the front of the car and you're driving through stuff, and it'd do exactly what you're saying, where it would move around. But it was like a ride at Carowinds that lasted like 10 minutes, like it wasn't like a 2 hour long movie of that. And then the only other thing I've been to that had the kind of the misting thing was like this ride at, I think it was like Universal Studios or something, but it was like this thing where you're supposed to go in and you sit on these chairs, and it's supposed to be like the light, you're on a space station or something, and the lights go out, and then there's like an alien that is broken loose, and the illusion's made through, like, it's pitch black dark, and there's like speakers all around the room, so like your sound effects, like it'll sound like the aliens like breathing right behind you or something, and then they'll use like a mist machine or whatever to give it like that extra tactile feedback to make it kind of trick your brain into thinking there's something literally right there, like breathing on your neck or whatever. And that was pretty cool, but I can't imagine sitting there for like 2 hours in a movie with all that crap going on. Like
It was awful. It was also like way too hot in there. And that the other problem that happened was they had these big fans that could blow out on all the individual rows, and those would kick on when it was like outdoor ocean scenes of that movie. It's like, oh, the ocean breeze, but like whenever it wasn't doing that, it was so uncomfortably hot in there. I was like, please go back to the ocean in this movie. Like, please, I'm begging you.
Some of that.
Yeah. I would never see a 4DX movie ever again. It was just way too tedious.
I'm pretty much like that with even 3D at this point. The only thing I'll go watch in 3D, I mean, they don't release that many movies in 3D anymore, but like, is something like Avatar, where it's just made for 3D, like almost kind of like have to see it in 3D because it's just how it was meant to be viewed. But yeah, I don't know. All the gimmicky stuff comes and goes, I guess, but nothing beats just going to the theater and just watching just a movie.
Yeah, one day they'll.
Speaking of which, just like regular movie that I'm looking forward to is there's this movie called One Battle After Another. It's made by Paul Thomas Anderson. It's like his new movie. He's one of my favorite directors of all time. He made like Boogie Nights and There Will Be Blood and Magnolia and like The Master and like all kinds of just like really great movies. But it's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it, and the only thing I can tell from the trailer is it's got Leonardo DiCaprio in it, and there's like a pregnant lady shooting a machine gun. But it looks like a normal, like just like it's like a movie, it's not like a superhero movie or some event BS or whatever. It's just like a normal movie, which I think I'm looking forward to going to see that.
Oh, I'll have to get
And I'm probably gonna go. I'm probably gonna go with my stepdad tomorrow to see 28 Years Later.
Ah.
So it's been a while since I saw the other ones, but I don't know.
Let me know how all that shakes out.
Always go for a good zombie movie.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I guess they're not really zombies, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you have to let us know how that all shakes out in the Discord. That, I think, is also a good time to cut it as we come up on 2 hours here.
Yep, I got my dinner on the way too, so.
Nice. All right, thanks joining us, or just shooting the breeze. We will do it again. Rotating cast, maybe. We wanted to have Chris with us today, but he had some stuff come up, so we're hoping he's doing all good. But there'll be times where it'll be all four of us. Sometimes it must be two of us. So we'll see how it goes. We're just trying to fit it in and talk about what's going on. So we will
absolutely
see y'all on the next one.
All right, later.